Okay. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? Hold on. Let me get my stuff together. All right. You know how it go. Lunch break special. You know, when you see me, I'm either going to work or coming from work. Because I'm a man. I'm a black man. That's what we do. We work hard out here in the real world. You know, maybe you see us on TV and the videos, but that ain't who we are. It's a part of the demographic. Most of us are amazing men and amazing dads. Ask the CDC, they know about us. Maybe you don't. Now, if you haven't already, subscribe, like, share to the channel. JB Quinnen, the entertainer. That is me. Um, of course, I wanted to rap with y'all today. Excuse me. Let me take this off. I wanted to rap with y'all today. Woo, my ears are cold. Still anemic. I'm anemic. That's why you always see me with something on my head. My ears be cold. But what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about all right, so black men have been complaining about a lack of femininity, and that um, there's too many chicks or women these days that are super duper masculine. That's a bad look right there. Super duper masculine, right? Ooh, that sounded strong. Super duper masculine. Okay. Now, you can do what you want. Nobody's telling you how to act, but we're telling you what the majority of good men want from women. We're telling you we don't want only thugs like thuggish women. Only criminals like ride or die chicks. You know, most of us regular dudes ain't into all that extra stuff. We just want regular people. So, basically, it's like this. So I've heard conversations when we bring up the idea that there's too much masculinity in our women, they get mad. And then anytime you critique a woman from our community, the first thing they do is throw a shot at men in general. So if you say that, you know what, I love y'all, but y'all a little too aggressive, y'all too masculine, the first thing they say, oh, well, it's because y'all not man enough. There's nothing that you say or critique in our community that won't be met with some form of um, disrespect or disingenuous, uh, disingenuous nature, or some type of emasculation. Anytime that a black man um, requires a standards or calls out a black woman for anything, then he is going to be uh, what they call gathered, which is disrespecting you into submission. And then the funny thing is, if you don't openly take a black woman's disrespect without getting angry, if you get mad at a black woman disrespecting you, then they're gonna say, "Oh, why you so emotional? Men don't get emotional." If you get frustrated, if you leave, it's like, "Oh, what, you can't handle it." So it's like total verbal abuse and psychological abuse when we demand something. Now, the cold part is when we tell our women that, look, this is what we want. They don't care. They're going to tell us what you want ain't important because we're treated like children from our women. They'll say you're gonna take what I give you, and you're gonna like what I give you, and I don't care what you want. That's how we met as black men. When we tell our black women what we want from them or what we think is unacceptable, so they'll say, well, it's not that we're masculine because we want to be. We're masculine because you're not man enough. So we have to be masculine because you aren't a man enough, black man. And that's crazy, right? So imagine this. Sometimes you got to go visual. We're visual people. So imagine this. A woman tells a man, he complains to his woman or his women at large and say, hey, group of women that belong to me because we're the same culture and and you want to be married and we want to marry you. That's what we say. We say, hey, women of our culture, this is what we got going on. So imagine if that woman says, you know what, well, I'm masculine because I have to be. There's such a lack of masculinity in our community that I have to take your role in mine because you're not handling your role correctly. And then they'll say something like, you know what, I'll be feminine or I'll be submissive when you give me a reason to be. I've always thought that sounded weird, but because men are scared of women, we never question what they say, and we just accept it and roll along. But now the tides are changing because We are starting to have a voice. Now, imagine this. If a woman tells a man, you know what, I have to be masculine because you're not a man. Imagine if men said the same thing. True. Imagine if men use that same rhetoric. You know, the rhetoric I just said. The rhetoric of, excuse me, the rhetoric of, I'm masculine because you guys lack masculinity, and I have to be both man and woman because of the lack of masculinity that you exude. And not only that, I won't be feminine or submissive until you give me a reason to. That's what they say. Yeah, they say that arrogant, disrespectful, condescending thing, and don't even see it as disrespect because they're so used to disrespecting us that they do it casually. Now, imagine if you brought them back their same stupid argument and said, "What if a guy said, well, I'm feminine because I have to be. There's such a lack of femininity in you that I have to be a man and a woman. There's such a lack of femininity." And then imagine if a guy said, I'll be masculine if you give me a reason to. You would go, what the fuck? What the fuck does me and my femininity got to do with you and your masculinity? So I would ask you, what the fuck does you and your femininity have to do with me and my masculinity? My masculinity has nothing to do with your femininity. Um, um, Me being more masculine shouldn't result in you being more feminine. If I was less masculine, that shouldn't result in you being more feminine. You're feminine because it's your nature, not because it's something you sign up or do. Because masculinity isn't a set of behaviors that we just do. Like, it's crazy because the same people that will say stuff like, they'll say something goofy like man, like gender is a social construct. No, like, gender isn't a social construct. You've made femininity and masculinity a social construct and think that you could jump into it at every however you see fit. But women decide what's feminine, how they behave, and men either accept or reject what they present as femininity. Men present what we think is masculinity, and women either accept or reject it. But what's happening in our society is not only will they they'll reject our form of masculinity and say it's toxic, but then they'll mimic it and embody every variable of the thing that they say is toxic. This is why action speaks louder than words, because people's actions makes no sense. So once again, if a woman says that she's masculine because she has to be because there's a lack of masculinity in men and she'll be submissive when we give them something to submit to, then she has to understand that's equivalent to a man saying that he is feminine and he has to be because there's such a lack of femininity in women, and that he'll be masculine when those women give him a reason to. Does that sound dumb as fuck to you? It sounds dumb as fuck to me. But that's the world we're living in, where people have ideologies that's dumb as fuck that makes no difference. So you have to give them their ideologies back to them in a gender reciprocal. So a woman saying that she has to be masculine because there's a lack of masculinity is equivalent to a man saying that he has to be feminine because there's a lack of femininity. Now, my question is, if you won't accept a man that is feminine, why would a man accept a woman who is masculine?